You're listening to Give Yourself Some Leeway with me, your host, Eugene Lee. Over the last 5 years, through my burnout experience, podcasting, and coaching, I have learned a lot about burnout recovery as a high achiever. What to do, what not to do, and the common mistakes that many people, like myself, make along the way. This podcast is dedicated to help you break the burnout cycle. Optimize your life for peak performance when you need it most, and rediscovering how to truly enjoy living again. That's the key to your growth and success. So I built Leeway on 3 pillars. I've mentioned them before. They are self-awareness, self-compassion, and self-care. Today I want to talk about the third pillar, self-care. Now, you can't be consistent with self-care, I have learned, without having that self-awareness and self-compassion first. If you don't have the self-awareness and self-compassion in place first, then it's very difficult to stay consistent with why you're taking care of yourself. Why do you have this self-care routine? When it comes to self-care, a lot of people overlook the importance of different areas of self-care. And you need to have at least one thing in each of these pillars or in each of these areas in order to have a well-rounded self-care routine. And what are these pillars of self-care? The 4 pillars that I have are being, energy, love, and impact. So today I'm going to give examples of each of these areas that I have non-negotiable self-care in each of these 4 areas. So the first one is being, and that's being with yourself. It stems from self-awareness, but it's about taking care of your being. We are human beings, not human doings. We're not always doing things. We need to be and be present. And part of that self-care and development, when it comes to being, the non-negotiables that I have in place, one is exercise. And this may fall under energy for some, but for me, there's no better way for me to be self-aware of how I'm feeling than being present in exercise. For that, I have my strength training routine of 3 to 4 days per week, and also acknowledging the rest days that I have in between. This is how I monitor my health, my energy levels also, and how I truly feel myself. I feel mostly present when I do my exercise, how my day has gone, how my night before had been in terms of my sleep and recovery. Another thing that's non-negotiable for me for my state of being is that I do my own self-coaching. For everything I do, I need to ask myself the same questions before I can coach others, so that I'm in a fully present state when I ask those questions to someone else. I know how I would answer them myself. The second stage is energy. If you want to take care of your energy, what do you need to do? What do you feel you are currently lacking on or sacrificing to try and perform better? Or maybe you're so exhausted you don't know where to start to look after your energy. My non-negotiables for taking care of my energy levels are my nutrition and my sleep. Now, my background has been in food and nutrition science, so I tend to geek out when it comes to nutrition. But the main pillars are that I try to eat as cleanly as possible. I stick to the 80-20 rule. I do intermittent fasting, and I take not a plate load of supplements, but I take 2 to 3 supplements at a time in different cycles, depending on what my needs are. Also, sleep. I prioritize my sleep as much as possible. And I like to track my sleep also. I have the Whoop fitness tracker, and that helps me to monitor my recovery levels. So in order for me to stay a routine and to track my progress with my recovery and my sleep, I can monitor the data with my Whoop. The third area we said was love. And that's not just taking care of yourself. It could be self-love, but it's also the connections that you have with others. So that's making it a non-negotiable to have time with my partner, and making it a non-negotiable that I need to connect with a friend, or I need to connect with someone outside of myself, that I'm not just on social media all the time. I need to have a real conversation with someone, maybe someone new. It could be a podcast guest, or it could be catching up with an old friend. It could be catching up with my family back home in Ireland. I need to have that phone call as a non-negotiable every week. So I'm having some connection. And it's good for your brain health also to have that connection. Impact. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't consider as part of their own self-care. But it's really important, especially as a high achiever, that if you feel that you're not having impact, not having purpose and meaning, then everything feels hopeless, or you feel that you're unneeded. And that's a narrative that you need to overcome. For impact, it's taking pride in the work that I do, in how I'm helping others, and making sure that when I do show up for the work that I do, that I'm showing up at my best and taking responsibility for that. Am I showing up consistently? Am I showing up to provide value to others, to help others? And being able to have evidence of that I'm able to reassure myself, yes, I am giving this the best effort. And if I'm not, I need to take a step back and ask myself why. Why am I not giving this the effort it deserves? Why am I not showing up at my best for others? Is there something else underlying here? Now that can go back to being self-aware and understanding maybe there's something else at play here. Why am I not showing up at my best, or showing up as I would like to? And that's both in the work that I do, but also here on the podcast. I want to make sure that I am sharing some nugget of value that helps others. And if I'm not showing up at my best, why is that? If I want to stay consistent with it, then I need to show up authentically. I need to show up true to myself, so that I'm not making this facade, or I'm not building up this, as I said, a facade is the best way of putting it. It's having this fake image and then wondering why I'm not being consistent with that. Or when is it all going to be revealed? And living in fear of that moment. No, I need to show up consistently and authentically as myself, both in the work that I do and here on the podcast. So going back over the 4 areas again for your self-care routine that you need to consider. We have being, we have energy, we have love, and we have impact. These are 4 areas that we need to consider when making our well-rounded self-care routine. If you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, stuck in a rut, or running in circles all the time, trust me, I've been there too. The pursuit for peak performance, especially as a high achiever, is not about pushing harder all the time. It's about learning to work smarter, find balance, and reignite that spark that got you started in the first place. That's why I developed the Burnout Recovery Blueprint. Join me for 12 weeks to overcome your burnout. Let's break the burnout cycle and restore your vitality. Develop sustainable habits proven for peak performance when you need it most. Rediscover the meaning and purpose in the work that you do. And boost your productivity and impact without sacrificing your health. If you're ready to invest in your personal growth and success, let's break the burnout cycle together. Let's work together. Let's have that call. The link is in the show notes. Until next week, take care.